everybody. I am delighted to see that there is already a ton of people chatting on the live chat here. I am here with none other than incredible, amazing, ultra running athlete Courtney Dauwalter from the USA. Hey, Courtney.
Hi, good to see you.
You have got a massive fan base here in the UK, and it's with great pleasure that I chat to you tonight, and we'll just get right into it because everybody is really keen for this to happen. You've got tons of quotes. Let me just read out something that people were saying. Okay, I've got some fan stuff here. Okay, so we had Bram Van Diemen saying, awesome, have to block it into my schedule. Oh no, I've lost it. Where's it gone? Sorry. And then we've got John Butler says, wow, really looking forward to this. She's my running idol. And then Pascal Mathanet says, cool. Abby Norman says, literally no words. And Sonia Brule says, awesome. So that is the reception that you got from just some of the people on the YouTube channel, Courtney. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing to have you here. I'm going to stop talking now because it's all about you. So I just wanted to ease you in gently with a couple of really easy questions because I saw this on your Instagram with young Courtney running in 1997. So how did you get into running? What was your journey?
I grew up playing a lot of sports, and then I think in elementary school we got to run the 1 mile as part of gym class, and I loved it. I loved pushing really hard, and that kind of naturally led me into cross-country running. So through middle school and high school, I did that. And then, that kind of grew this lifelong passion for it. I had really great teammates and coaches and an upbringing that was all about staying active and trying your hardest. So the combination of things made me fall in love with running.
Amazing. And was it always off-road running? Like, what do you love about the kind of trail side of things?
Yeah, it wasn't always. I don't mind the roads either. I just like running in general. But if I have a choice, I'm going to go on the trails now because I love how peaceful they are, and where you end up is so cool. I mean, you can travel with your feet and end up in the middle of what feels like nowhere. And that's pretty special, I think.
That is awesome. And so talking it's not really the middle of nowhere, but beautiful places. We saw you smash it up at the UTMB literally is a couple of months ago now, only just. It was absolutely amazing to see you do so well there, especially coming back from your hip injury after the Western States. And we've got an audience question, patron question from Carl about the UTMB. He is really keen to know, what was your day like before that 6 p.m. start? Like, do you do napping and sleeping? What do you eat? And, are you in a different time zone? So it's quite a long question.
Yeah. It's a good question, though, because those night starts are weird. They make the whole day a little bit weird. But luckily, the whole day was just pretty much revolved around relaxing and getting some food in. So I think I slept in, maybe got up and went for a little walk, got my race stuff ready, and then got in some meals at some point before the race. And I think I tried to do like a kind of morning reset a couple hours before the race where I had a cup of coffee just to make me feel a little more like it was a normal start time.
Yeah, like morning, hello.
Yeah.
But no napping? Did I hear any mention of napping?
I don't think I actually fell asleep, but everything was just like really relaxed. So even if my eyes were open, it was kind of like napping.
And so did you eat a big meal or anything? Because at 6 p.m. it's like this kind of dinner time, isn't it, when it starts? Like,
I think I ate a big meal probably around noon or 1. And then maybe that cup of coffee a couple hours before and a smaller snack.
Yeah, and then you just put fish and chips in your bag and ran.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is that what you put in your pack in the UK?
Oh, no, it's just there's a really famous runner here who I'll tell you a bit about in a minute with one of the other questions. She's called Nikki Spinks. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's done a double a double Bob Graham round, and she's really famous for having fish and chips like halfway into a really, really long run. She just gets
Oh,
fish and
that's
chips and
cool.
nails it. Yeah, she's pretty cool.
I'll try it next time.
Yeah, and I just a couple of questions from me about the UTMB, because it's very different over in Europe. Was it your first time in Europe, and how do the races compare to what you're used to in the USA?
Yeah, I mean, I would call it one of my first races in Europe. Um, the trails were beautiful. They were quite a bit steeper than the trails in the US, but I mean, I'm in Colorado, so we have plenty of mountain trails here, so that wasn't necessarily different or all that shocking to be traveling on mountain trails. But yeah, it was different in that the whole atmosphere about UTMB is just really blown up, and there's so much excitement. But then you still get the same feeling when you're out on those trails on the mountains of, you're alone, you're just moving forward, and there's a whole lot of silence and time to think or not think. And then you'd roll into those villages and it would be, a party again. So it was cool to have both of those things happening in one race.
Yeah, it's a pretty special atmosphere there, isn't it? It's like pretty much the Olympics of trail running, I always think.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And we've got another question, because this is really good for the UTMB. So Conrad Anderson says, first, I cannot wait to see this interview. My biggest interest is to find out, how does Courtney seem to always have a smile and maintain a viewpoint where situations are not that bad? And this is just something you move through to get to the other side. And I just want to bring in the fact that you finished the last 12 miles of the Run Rabbit Run in 2017 with temporary blindness, just to put this all into context about Courtney's continuing smile. So yeah, how do you do that?
It's not always a smile. There's times where there's not the energy left to smile anymore, but I find that it does you no good if you focus on how bad you're feeling or how awful the situation is. And so I guess smiling is just part of me, like switching my mindset to staying positive and viewing whatever's happening as a temporary thing that's going to pass if I just keep pushing through it. So I think positivity can go a long way, especially when things are going south. And at UTMB, they went pretty far south for me. So
really, did you have to dig deeper there than you ever dug before, do you think?
I don't know if it was deeper. It was just a different sort of like body fatigue than I had experienced before.
Yeah, and do you think that had anything to do with getting injured, your hip injury, and having to rehab that? Like anything to do with that?
I mean, I would guess that they're correlated. Yeah, but I don't have like solid evidence that that's true.
Can't really tell.
But yeah, like going into UTMB, I did entirely different training than I've ever done in my life, and so maybe I was just not quite as prepared as I needed to be for a monster like the UTMB course.
That's really interesting that you say you totally changed your training. So what did you do? Like in a nutshell, what was it before, and why and how did you change it?
Yeah, I mean, before Western States, which was at the end of June, all I did really was run quite a bit, and I did some core work. After the injury, I found out that part of the reason I got injured is because I hadn't been doing the normal maintenance that a body might require after a lot of miles.
Do you mean like stretching or strength work?
Yeah, both stretching, foam rolling, and just some more targeted strength work. So I added those things in after Western States as I was trying to rehab, and I also was unable to run for quite a while in those rehab weeks. So the first couple weeks after Western States, there was no running. And then the next couple weeks, it was every other day I could run. So it ended up putting me on a bike quite a bit of the time. And I've never really trained for ultras by road biking. So that was a new thing for me to learn and experience. And yeah, it also was just a great learning experience for me moving forward, to remind me of all those, little details like foam rolling and doing the strength work. And yeah, more than just running.
It is so funny that you said that, because I think it was last week, or was it the week before, we had a guy on, I was telling you just before we started, Adam Smith, and he was telling us all about how runners run too much and they don't do any strength work. So you've heard it here, guys, from the mistress herself of ultra running. Do your strength work, everybody. So
it's legit.
It's legit. Oh, I love that. I love all these American words. So, did you count the miles per week or the vert per week? I know that's a word, isn't it? Vert, the vertical, the ascent, we call it over here.
I did, big time, not by choice, but because I couldn't run on my hip that much. So everything got cut by quite a bit. And then a whole lot of hours on a bike seat got added.
Fantastic. And so was that outside on the bike, or was that sort of...
Mostly outside.
One of them things inside, what do you call them?
Yeah.
A stationary bike.
Yeah. Mostly outside.
Oh, great. Well, that's awesome. Did you like the biking then? Like, you hadn't done any before?
Yeah, I do like it. I love going uphill. I am kind of scared going downhill. So... If I could have just found a road that kept going up, I think I would have liked it more.
That's such good training as well. We've got several really good fell running athletes over here that do that as well. And like Victoria Wilkinson, she's like a cyclocross champion as well as running champion. And yeah, it's a really good sport to bring in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so I've got a question now about your eating and drinking from a couple of people. So I was going to ask you whether you like beer or wine, but a tiny amount of research led me to believe that you prefer beer. I didn't have to look far. So I'm not going to bother with that one at all.
I do like wine, but I usually prefer beer.
Yeah. Have you got a particular favourite at the moment? Are you sponsored by any breweries like Sage Canaday?
Yeah, lately I've been drinking a lot of dark beers. It's getting to be fall weather over here. So there's a new Sufferfest beer called Head Start. It's a stout made with coconut water and coffee, and it's really delicious.
So you're a bit of a caffeine fiend as well, like with your coffee and stuff.
Not necessarily, but yeah. Lately I've been drinking the stouts and the browns and the pumpkin beers.
Oh, wow.
I think, just really getting into the fall beer.
Amazing. That's autumn for anybody who doesn't speak American.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. We all know. I was just joking. There's films and stuff over here.
I should have had a translation sheet up next to
I'll write one in the film description afterwards.
Yeah, thank you.
So we've got another question now from a really long time patron, John Gardner here, and it's all about your eating and drinking on the UTMB. I'm going to ask these couple of questions now, and then I'm just going to go through the live chat because everyone's they're just going mental, and I want to read out some nice things nice things. So if you've got any more nice things to say about Courtney, then write them down now and I'll read them out.
Or not nice things.
Oh no, I'm not reading out any horrible things. So John Gardner says you have lined up a lovely person to talk to. I also spoke about meeting this lady who's running barefoot the whole length of Britain. So he's put, you have lined up two lovely people who are also superior athletes. I'm interested to hear how and what long distance runners like Anna and Courtney eat and drink to keep from bonking, especially when they don't feel like eating and when it's really hot. So if you can remember all parts of that question.
Yeah. So I stick in a really small group of foods that I use during races. I use Tailwind in my hydration bottles. So that's 200 calories that you can sneak in pretty easily, even if you don't feel like eating. And then I use Honey Stinger waffles and chews. And then when races are over 100 kilometers, I add in mashed potatoes. And those are another good one when you don't feel like eating, because it doesn't require a lot of chewing to eat a mashed potato. So you can usually sneak attack them in if you're having some issues with nausea.
Ah, so you've got it dialed. And did it take you a long time to discover what you wanted?
Yeah, it took me a really long time to figure out what would stay. I think everyone is so individual that you can like take advice and watch what other people are eating, or graze the aid stations and try everything. But eventually you'll kind of narrow down the things that stay in and feel good versus what sends your stomach in a frenzy.
Yeah, well, it does take a long time, doesn't it? And I think a lot of people are still finding sometimes, like with specific conditions, that everything that they thought they might like to eat can just go out of the window.
Yeah.
So does it differ for you, like whether it's hot or cold, what you take, or is it the same stuff?
I keep it pretty similar, but obviously then I'm always ready to pivot and change if I have to, if the conditions are making something not work, or if something then sounds extra good because it's super hot or super cold or whatever the conditions are.
Yeah, so maybe a hot jacket potato if it's really, really cold, just in the pocket there to keep you warm throughout. Yeah, I've got
a potato in your pocket.
Yeah, I've got mountaineering friends who are like, take hot potatoes in your pocket. Like, the new potatoes, the little ones, they put them in their pocket and it actually helps to keep them warm during like the snowy mountain climb.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then they have a snack.
Yeah, and a snack that's warming. I've also done it one time with a boiled egg, and it stays warm for about 40 minutes before it gets cool, and then you just eat it. So there you go.
Those are good tips.
Yeah. Courtney's writing these down.
I
am. Perfect. And so we just got another nutrition question here from Leon Young. Also a patron, who says, how do you approach your nutrition plan for 100-miler? Like, as in, I suppose he means strategy, like we know what you eat, but like, when do you eat it?
Yeah, I don't have my watch doesn't beep every 30 minutes or anything. Basically, I try to slow drip the calories constantly. So eating very small amounts or just taking little sips of the Tailwind right away from the beginning all the way through. So I think for me, that works better for my stomach than trying to put in a whole lot of food at once. This way I can manage it a lot easier, and I don't have to think about time passing in order to remind me to eat. I just keep eating.
Yeah. Every time you remember, just get it in. Yeah. Well, that's good advice as well. I was talking to Rory Bosio at the UTMB, and she actually said every time a song finishes, because she uses a lot of music when she runs, she has another snack. So that's cool. I'd never heard that before. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it's a good strategy.
Yeah. I thought it was nice. Okay, are you ready for a bombardment of Courtney love?
No. Thank you.
Yeah. I know, I was watching the Ginger Runner, and him and Kim were like, oh, are we like your biggest fans? We said the most flattery. So I'm going to try and outdo the Ginger Runner now. Don't tell him. So Graham House says, I can't wait for this one. Courtney Dauwalter, oh my word, what can I say? Such an inspiration. Yay. Fantastic. Rennie Feint, she says, hello everyone, can't wait. Conrad Anderson says, hello Courtney, Claire and everyone, greetings from Michigan.
Cool.
And Kurt Steed says, psyched to be able to catch a live stream today, and bonus, Queen Courtney. Fantastic. I should have made you wear a little crown. And then everyone's like, woo, it started, yay. Purple Running Whale says, looking forward to this chat evening, everyone. And Graham House wants me to go back to the top and see my question for you, which I will do in a second, but I'm just reading out some love. Okay, so Soren Brockdoff says, one of the most approachable athletes there is, Courtney Dauwalter. That's amazing.
Thank you.
That is fantastic. There's this is mixed in with questions, so I'm just trying to read out the Courtney loving. Wait, I can hear pops coming up all over the place, which means there's loads more. I'm just scrolling down. Okay. Rob Jones says, Courtney is a complete legend. And someone wants to know if you saw leopards on the UTMB trails.
I didn't. No, I'm so bummed. I had no hallucinations out there.
Damn it.
I think because it was a night start, so I went through the night when my brain was a little more fresh, and then by the time I was in like hallucination fatigue territory, it was light out, and I don't often have hallucinations when it's daytime.
That's a shame, because leopards would have been cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic. And then Tom Bond says, Courtney seems like such a nice person. The world needs more Courtneys. Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you.
Jennifer Hill says, this is so awesome. And Kurt says, yes, agreed. She seems amazing. And Robert Jordan says, good evening to the First Lady of Ultra Running. Gordon Richards says, what a total ledge. Tom Murphy says, my first live stream. Hi, Claire and Courtney from Carlow Island.
Oh, cool.
Heather M says, Courtney, you were a big inspiration when I ran my first 50K this September. She watched The Source on Dream Lens Media every night for 3 nights before the run.
Oh, that's so cool. Congrats to her. That's really awesome.
Yeah, and it's such an awesome film as well. And then Leanne D says, hi, Courtney, you are a huge inspiration for female runners. Question, you crewed for your husband recently. How was that?
Yeah, it was really fun. He ran a 100-mile race in Utah, here in the United States, this past weekend. So it was really special to be on the other side of it and to get to hang out at aid stations and chat with people and then cheer for all the runners, and be a part of helping him achieve his goal was really cool.
Awesome.
I didn't screw up too many times.
Yeah.
But crewing is a big job.
I know, yeah. She also says, did you, like, seeing it from the other side, are there any takeaways from that?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that it was a hard job. It's a lot of like thinking and planning, and you don't get to just turn your brain off and run like you do when you're the runner in it. But yeah, I think it's just as rewarding. Like, I felt really excited for him and to be a part of his adventure through 100 miles, and to see him get to the finish line felt like, you know, we had all gotten to the finish line, which was really cool.
Yeah, that's so awesome, isn't it? Like, yeah, and you didn't even have to run anywhere, so
yeah.
Perfect. That's awesome that you can feel the joy of other people's running as well. I just got a couple more flattery things here just to make you really blush, and then we'll go on to some more patron questions, and then I'll answer as many as I can from the live chat, and there's tons. Okay, so Leon Young says, massive inspiration. Richie Strong says, Courtney, you legend. I think there should be some kind of like hand maneuver going on there, but I don't know. And Sally Gilson says, I've finally been able to make a live stream. Courtney is a complete inspiration. Very popular live stream person, Courtney. Freybart05 says, such an amazing person and runner. Greetings from Germany. And Carl Southgate says, loving the interview. Courtney is such an awesome guest, such an inspiration, and it was a highlight for me seeing Courtney finish at UTMB as I was right by the finish. The atmosphere was amazing. Awesome. Cool. It was really cool. Ivana Velezanovic says, Courtney, you are awesome. You are a very great and positive person. And Leanne D said, thanks for answering my question just now. And then Marlo M has a funny question. Courtney's dad must be a dentist. What is her secret to such perfect teeth?
I brush them.
Yeah, as we all should. And one last one. Robert Lezier says, thank you for giving me so much inspiration. Much love from Salzburg, Austria. Please come and run the Mozart 100.
Oh, it's on my list. It looks so cool.
Cool. Fantastic. Well, funny you should talk about that, but the next question that we have, the next question's everyone wanted to sort of know about what you were doing next. I suppose they've seen interviews with you with lots of other like media outlets, so they kind of know what you've already done. So they wanted the inside track on what you're doing next. But first of all, I just want to come on to some of your amazing achievements, because Arlene Mateluck has a question about do the men enjoy being what they call chicked by you? Because I mean, look at this list of amazingness. So you won the Moab 240 miler in 2 days, 9 hours and 59 minutes, and that was in 2017. And their next man was 10 hours after you. And there's countless records that you've run. You've won Run Rabbit Run 75 minutes ahead of second place in 2016. You've got all these records: Big Dog Backyard Ultra, second overall women's record, tons and tons of stuff where you're like beating a lot of the men, if not all of the men. Like, how have you found the men's reaction to that? And do you consider yourself like in competition with the men and the ladies, or like how does it work for you?
Yeah, I mean, in my head, it doesn't matter who they are or if they're a man or a woman. I'm trying in a race to keep pushing myself to find the next person, because it makes me push harder and not settle, not give up, basically I want to see what's possible, and I want to finish a race feeling like I gave it everything I had. So it doesn't matter who I'm out there looking for on the trails, or where I am in the field. I want to keep pushing as hard as I can. And I haven't had any negative encounters with men or women in the trail running community. Everyone's so friendly. So
that is awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. Like, that's just like, that's equality, isn't it, happening right now? That is awesome. Well, great question from Arlene there. Thank you very much for sending that in. Then we have a quick question on recovery from Mehul Vaidha, who is also a patron. And he's talking about recovery after these races. So he says it's not uncommon for elite athletes to take like several weeks off. How do you decide when to take a really long break, and how long, and how do you decide these things, and how do you decide how long? I suppose he wants a little bit of advice, because he's just done an incredible race. Actually, he's just done the Ring of Stell Sky Race, part of the Skyline Scotland series. Yeah, it's an amazing race. Totally, if you come over here, it's one of the ones to do. But I suppose he's asking for a bit of advice on him, because that was the hardest race that he's done yet.
I usually take at least a week, really, maybe 5 to 7 days of no running. But on those no running days, I'll make sure to just get out and walk a little bit to move. I think that helps speed up the recovery. And then when I feel better and like my body is ready for it, I'll go out for just really short jogs to start. So just a 5K or even shorter around my neighborhood, if that sounds good, until, basically when my body and my brain and even like my lungs sometimes feel like fully rested and ready to go, then I'll get back into normal training. So I think it depends a lot, and you have to listen to yourself in, what you're feeling, and then respect that.
Yeah, so a lot of listening to the body and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you really listened to your body during the Western States this year. I was reading some things saying that you'd run through pain before, but not this type of pain. So like, how do you know? Because I think a lot of people get a bit bogged down in like overtraining. How do you know when it's right to keep going, or are you just being lazy, or how do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know? I've been trying to find this out.
Yeah, I think you have to know yourself and know, like, do you try and take a easier route if you're given one, or are you like, are you more of a person who needs to pull back on the reins because you're always trying to do too much? So just knowing like where on that spectrum you normally fall, I think is important. And then also like when you're feeling something, is it just discomfort? And to me, if you're uncomfortable, like it's painful because you're running 50 miles or 100K or whatever it is, 5K, discomfort isn't the reason to stop. That's like when you're right at that tipping point, I think, where if you push a little bit more, you might find something pretty magic on the other side of it. But when it's like pain that actually is indicating injury, then I think you have to pay attention to it.
Yeah, I suppose it's just learning by experience where that level is. And it's interesting that you talk about the exciting thing that you find when you push through that discomfort. Like, what does it actually feel like for you? I'm imagining some sort of euphoria or something. Is it like a sort of a drug type? You know how people go from like taking loads of drugs to doing running instead. How does it feel for you, that pushing through?
Yeah, it's not euphoria, but if like one of the reasons I'm doing this sport is to keep finding out what's possible and how far we can go and how fast we can do it and all of those pieces. Then when I push through that discomfort and find a new area, let's say of my pain cave, or a new like level I hadn't reached before, then I'm feeling like I'm, moving forward towards that goal of, figuring out what I can actually do and where the line is.
So it's kind of like a giant scientific experiment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're like a human guinea pig in your own experiment.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. I love this. Okay, so we're just going to have another question now. Another question from patron Arlene. She says, so many questions for Courtney. Like, she wants to know about your future. Are the Barkley Marathons in your future? What about the Ring of Steel Sky Race? What about next year's Hard Rock? Would you ever consider road running, which we did touch upon earlier? Like, with all these 200 milers now, like, it seems like distances just keep getting longer and longer. Like, what is the ultimate limit? So that was a lot of questions in there.
Yeah.
A prize for you if you remember it.
I am intrigued by all of those races that you listed. It would be hard for you to say a race that I would say I wasn't interested in trying. So if it's out there, I'm curious about it and would love to put myself in it to see how I can do, even if it's, really short and fast or really, really long or technical or whatever. I like trying new things. And while it might not be the type of race I naturally am drawn to, I like that challenge of trying something new. So yeah, all of those races sound cool. I would love if there were some even longer races available, because why not? And I don't remember the rest of it. I like road running also.
So how ultra distances keep getting longer. Like, I suppose there's not any more than like 250-mile races. So how do you feel about creating your own like FKT somewhere?
Yeah. I think FKTs are intriguing. There's so many cool trails all over the world or roads. So I think finding one that was long would be it'd be pretty cool to try something like that.
Cool. And have you got any in mind, or are you just focused on your next thing right now?
Yeah, nothing's on the schedule. I am most drawn right now to the Colorado Trail because it's here in Colorado where I live, and it's 500 miles. So it goes from the southwest part of the state up towards Denver, and travels across some really beautiful parts of Colorado. So I think it'd be cool to try something like that.
That sounds amazing. So what would you do? Like, run with a pack and just like sleep on the trail in a bivy bag when you got tired, and then like have 2 hours kip and get going again?
Yeah, I haven't really figured it out yet. I know you can do it crewed or uncrewed, and there's FKTs for both of those. So if I were to guess, I would bet my husband would want to be involved, and I would be very thankful for that because then you could have like an RV or something, moving up along the area.
Yeah, and have you read Scott Jurek's book North?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, like, would you do the Appalachian Trail or anything like that? Because his wife Jenny, she crewed him, didn't she? It sounds like the same thing.
Yeah, and that one's wild. I mean, the Appalachian Trail and the Pacific Crest Trail are both so long, and that would be such a massive undertaking. So I feel like I should dip my toe in first on something like relatively shorter.
Yeah.
and then maybe try one of those long ones.
Yeah, that's just intriguing. I'm just thinking, like, I don't know, do you have a job or are you a full-time athlete? Sorry for really rudimentary question.
No, that's okay. Currently, I'm full-time running.
Good. So you could go away for months at a time and
Yeah.
do one of these things. Oh, fantastic.
Yep.
That's great. Well, I'll just watch your social media and wait to hear the news.
I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, thanks. And then, right. So then most of my patrons are in Britain, obviously. So, obviously, have you heard of the Bob Graham round? Yes, you said you'd heard of Nikki Spinks before. Yeah. So obviously that question came up. Do you fancy doing the Bob Graham, the Paddy Buckley Ramsey round, or maybe even a double BG? Because we might need somebody to take on Nikki Spinks's record.
That's a stout record, but absolutely, I'm interested in those, and I'll be calling up all of you folks in the UK to help out if I can make it happen.
Awesome! Yes, can we come and support you? I
love that.
I'm not sure that
Fish and chips.
Yes, yeah, halfway round, fish and chips. There you go. Do you know she eats baked beans out of a tin as well? Do you have baked beans in the States?
Yeah, we do. No, I need to read up on all of her treats that she brings.
Yeah, so she has baked beans. She has rice pudding in a little tin. She has like tinned peaches and stuff. Basically everything that's really slippery that'll slip down easily. So yeah, that's how she does it.
All right, I'm in.
Awesome. So, have you got any plans to come to the UK at all? Like, can we expect you over here like in a year or like maybe 2 years' time? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it won't be this year, but I haven't started making my schedule for next year yet, so I am not sure if I'll be there. But hopefully, yeah, within the next couple of years, I can make it over.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And you have to tell me when you come because I'm so like driving to literally wherever you are in the country just to say hi.
Well, thank you. I will definitely let you know.
Cool. This is amazing. I love this chat. It's my favourite chat of the year. So we have got another Patreon question from Guy Greatorex, but I'm just going to leave that for the moment because it's a bit of a departure to everybody. Lots of other questions on here. I told people to think out of the box and to watch the Ginger Runners interview with you first so that we didn't just cover all the same ground and make it boring for you. Graham Howes wants to know if you are doing any races in South Africa, like there's the Otter Trail or the Ultra Trail Cape Town.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe Ultra Trail Cape Town.
Cool.
But I'm not positive yet.
What, like next year?
Yeah, one of these years.
Yeah, cool. It sounds great. I went over to the Otter Trail with Ricky Lightfoot a few years ago when he broke the record, and that was an awesome course. So I'm sure the other race will be equally as amazing. Okay, let's find some more questions from the live people. And Courtney's just necking some beer.
Not beer. We're still in daytime here.
Oh, yes, it's lunchtime with you, isn't it? I forgot. Yeah. Cool. So do you do any coaching? Kurt Steege wants to know, because he coaches cross country. So he says, have you got any coaching tips that have helped you develop a lifelong love of running?
Oh man. I think, coach, like he coaches high school or something, or middle school. Yeah. I think it's important in those years to make it fun and also to try and I don't know, it's really hard, but you have to teach them that when it starts to feel hard, that it doesn't mean they should just stop right away. And those are the moments where you go just a little bit more than you think you can. And you can, find that next year. And it's a hard thing to teach because it feels scary when you're first doing that, when you're, 12 or 13 or whatever age, to start to feel that discomfort and everything in your body is pointing to, this means I should stop. And then you're supposed to power through it and not stop. That's really counterintuitive. So teaching the fun in it so that they grow a lifelong passion for it, and also teaching them that they're capable of more than they think.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely making it fun. Totally agree with you there. That's a fantastic answer. Thank you so much, and thank you to Kurt for that question. We've got just going to try and rocket through some questions now before we have to end the broadcast. Oh, we've got a few. We've got a little while. How long have you got, Courtney? Have you got another 10, 15 minutes?
Yep, I've got about 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10,
Okay.
15 minutes will go.
Cool. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Right. I'll keep an eye on the time. Right. So Soren Brockdoff wants to know what your fastest 5K is and favorite East Coast trail.
Oh, geez. I have no idea what my fastest 5K is.
You better go out and do a park run.
Yeah, wait, give me a minute. Let me go.
Yeah,
get
off
a
you
time
go.
for you.
10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, right. And I haven't discovered a lot of the East Coast trails yet, so I can't say a specific trail that I love there.
Oh, we'll have to interview you this time next year and get your proper answers to those ones.
Yeah, thank you.
And Rob Montgomery says, what is your thought process as you have an amazing drive? What keeps you going so consistently? What drives you?
Like to train every day or in a race or what?
To push really hard and be competitive in races, I reckon.
A lot of what drives me is that I want to finish and not wonder what if. And so I want to get everything I can out of myself on every race that I do. And that means, pushing on the gas pedal and putting it in. Yeah, I mean, just going as hard as I can so that when I finish, I feel like that was all I had today and feeling like okay with that.
That's awesome. Right, we're all going to go out and do that this weekend. Fab. Rob Jones is interested to know what race you felt the most nervous starting. Like, do you get nervous? You seem really happy and smiley. Does this affect you?
I mean, before all races, I feel really excited to finally be on the start line because usually it's been, a pretty long build up and a lot of like thinking about the race. So to finally be on the start line usually just feels like excitement. And then a little bit of nervousness just about, what's going to go on during this race. What are the things that are going to go wrong? Am I going to be able to problem solve them? So there's usually a little like curiosity or nervousness. I'm not sure which, of how it's going to play out and hoping I can deal with, whatever gets thrown my way.
Yeah, and judging by the list of massive race results here, you usually can. A question about your soda. What's your favourite soda during races? And then whilst not racing, does it change?
I'm not a big soda drinker. During races, I don't do sodas anymore. Unless I'm, really in the weeds trying to pull myself out of like a bad stomach or something and nothing else is working, then I might try some Coke. But otherwise, I don't do soda during races. And really, I don't do it outside of races either. I like sparkling water. This was a LaCroix that I was drinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he saw that and thought you were drinking some soda. So
yeah, it probably looks like Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Oh yeah, La Croix.
La Croix.
La Croix. I think it means. Is it Croix?
Yeah.
Yeah. La Croix. I think it means the cross in French. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
So it's just sparkling water. I love sparkling water.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it is delicious. I agree. Fantastic. So we have one more question here from Gordon Richards, who says, what has been your toughest race ever? And would you ever try and do the Trans-American coast to coast and break the record? People are cheating. There's like 2 questions in every one question here.
They're testing my memory.
Yeah.
The Trans-American is really intriguing. I don't think I'm ready for it quite yet, but I hope some point in my life to try it and to see how it goes. I just think it would be a really special way to see the country. And I don't know what the toughest race I've ever done is. all been tough in different ways, whether it's like physically tough or mentally tough, or I'm throwing up for hours or whatever it is. So I don't have a ranking on which was the toughest.
Yeah, oh, that's a good answer, really, because like each race has their own like obstacles, as you said. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if you could pick three targets before you retire, what would they be? So this is like your dream races.
Oh, I can't pick just three. I mean, earlier I said yes to any race that you listed. So
Yeah, I know.
it's impossible to choose three.
Yeah, another good answer. um, and
Sorry.
Di Wilson says,
Cheating answer.
yeah, it is a good answer. How did you stay positive when you got asked so many times about your injury? And were you aware of everybody's love for your shorts?
I mean, the injury stuff, the reality was that the injury had happened, and so the only mode I tried to stay in was like moving forward and trying to fix it. So dwelling on, what a bummer it was, or dwelling on when it wasn't going as quickly as I wanted it to, wasn't going to fix it. And so I tried to, stay positive and just keep trusting in the process and trusting the team of physical therapists that I had gotten together with to, get me ready for the next thing and figure this out. It was it felt like a really big thing, but in the grand scheme, it's such just a blip on the radar. It was a tiny little detour that I had to take, and hopefully it'll end up making me stronger in the big picture. Now that I do the stretching and the strength work.
Yeah, now that we all do the stretching and the strength work.
Right.
Yeah.
I do recommend now.
I'm sorry that you had to learn the hard way to preach the good word to all of us. There's a really, really nice comment here from Kurt Steege. He says, I would be honoured to be chicked by Courtney.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, Heather M wants to know if you run in group runs or with your husband when you are training.
Sometimes, yeah. Oftentimes my husband and I will run together. We probably do a handful of times a week because he'll always run after work. So sometimes I join him for that. And then on weekends, we try and meet up with some of our friends or do a local group run or something like that. So yeah, I love it as a social activity as well as doing normal training.
Fantastic. I love that you like to mix it up. That's really brilliant. Rob Jones is doing his first ultra in Pembrokeshire, the Pembrokeshire 100 this year.
Awesome.
Oh, he finished 5th overall. He's done it already. That's
nice.
Amazing.
Congratulations.
Yeah. He said he felt better running at night because he couldn't see the ascents. Does Courtney prefer running at night, in the night, or the day? That's quite a good post UTMB question.
Yeah, I love them both, but I agree. When in the nighttime, you can just live in that bubble of light and not really get overwhelmed with how big the climb in front of you is or what the terrain looks like because you can't see it. So I like the simplicity of that, and I also love running in the daytime when you actually can see those huge views and soak in, this beautiful place that you're enjoying. So I like the combination.
Yeah, it's always good to mix it up. Yeah. As you said before. Sally Gilson said, I do a weekly weight session and can normally motivate myself for a long run, but struggle with speed sessions. Has Courtney got any fun and exciting speed session tips?
I mean, sometimes the speed sessions I'll do are really impromptu, and it'll be like choosing trees that I sprint between or telephone poles or just random landmarks that I'll do my intervals based off of instead of sometimes you like a timed one is good or having a little more structure to it is great. But if you're just not able to motivate for that, to just make a game out of it with landmarks, I think can switch it up a little and make it not feel so serious. So
Yeah.
I'd give that a shot.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I was at a strength class this morning where we did some sprinting and we played noughts and crosses in teams. So we had to
Oh, cool.
run and place your thing in the noughts and crosses game and then run back and tag the other person to go. And the other team were on the different colour. And honestly, we were like, right, let's go.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
realise how hard you're working. So that's a fun one, Sally, as well. Fantastic. Okay, so would you consider any skyrunning races from Arlene M?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I'd have a lot of learning to do those sky races, but I would be happy to try them and would love to learn and try something new.
Fantastic. And one final question from the live chat before we ask Guy Greatorex's question. Andrew Morris, what advice would Courtney give to her younger self?
Oh, geez. Yeah, to follow your passion. So know that you get one life and you should follow the things that make you the happiest in that life.
Awesome. That is something that we can all follow there, I think. Do the things that make you happy. Absolutely fantastic. And talking of the things that make you happy, are you a cat person or a dog person?
I have neither. I have no pets.
Oh.
But if I see a puppy at the park, I basically die a little bit because they're so cute. But yeah, I am a kind of neither, I guess.
Ah, okay, interesting. I thought you might have a dog that ran with you or something like that.
No, no pets.
Oh, no pets. Okay, well that's cleared that one up then. That was a question from me, and the final question before we wrap up this amazing evening with Courtney is from Guy Greatorex, one of the long-term patrons, always a massive supporter of the channel. What do you do in your spare time outside of running to wind down, like music, beer? What do you do?
Yeah, definitely hanging out with my husband or family and friends, going to breweries or being outside in general is top of the list. And yeah, trying to just enjoy and explore.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Well, I want to say a massive thank you to Courtney for letting us ask all these amazing questions to her tonight.
Thank you.
I hope everybody's learned something new. I know I've learned something new. Courtney's learned some new things as well. Mainly that she's got a massive fan base over in the UK and she should come over here as soon as physically possible. But yeah, what is next for you, Courtney, before we say goodbye? In races.
The 24-hour World Championships are being held in France at the end of October. So I'll be there with Team USA competing. I'm sure there's some people from the UK coming and racing there. So it'll be a really cool 24-hour race.
It sounds it sounds really difficult actually. I was gonna say it sounds like a completely different thing to what we usually see you doing, so it's going to be really interesting to see how it pans out.
Yeah, it'll be fun and a fun challenge.
Yeah, and it's only in France, so it's not too far away from old Blighty.
Not too far.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Yeah, we can come and watch. Well, everybody on the live chat is saying thank you so much to Courtney. Thank you for the running tips. Thank you for being an awesome guest. Much love from Nova Scotia in Canada, from Heather M there. Sally Gilson saying thanks for the tips. Jennifer Hill saying thank you both. Graham House, thank you ladies. You were both great to watch. Oh, thanks. Well, it's mainly Courtney here. Thank you for answering my question, Courtney from Di. Rob Budd says thank you, Courtney. Arlene M says thank you so much. Wow, they're going to go on all night. Carl Southgate says thanks. This has been awesome. So thank you. Yeah, so thank you to everybody on the live chat. This is absolutely incredible that we had so many people watching, and thank you so much to Courtney for coming and answering all of our questions.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And good luck in your next race.
Thank you. See you guys when I visit the UK. Bye.
Bye, guys.